Hello, everyone. My name is Danny. This review is for the movie called All Is True. All Is True explores the human story behind a dark and little known period in the life of William Shakespeare. The year is 1613, and Shakespeare is the greatest writer of the age. When his beloved Globe Theatre is burned to the ground, he decides to return to his hometown of Stratford upon Avon. There he faces his neglected family. Still haunted by the death of his only son, Hamnet, he struggles to mend broken relationships with his new wife, Anne, and daughters. In doing so, he is forced to examine his own failings as an absent husband and father. In the search for peace, he must also finally confront the dark heart of his family's secrets and lies. This is a 2018 film. It's rated PG-13. It runs about an hour and 40 minutes. And it stars Kenneth Branagh and the other people on the front, Judi Dench and Ian McKellen. And that's about it. It has a larger cast, sort of. It's kind of condensed into the superstars that get the most time on the screen. So anybody else in this film that you would want to know who they are, just look them up on some website. But yeah, that's the main stars, the main characters. So this is All Is True. This is one of those movies that just came up in my research I do every month, and I got from the local library. I like to get movies from past years and ones that I know I have not seen ever before, and this is one of them. And so it was interesting to see. It was interesting to find out about it. A lot of movies I get I don't have any idea about, and I have no idea what I'm getting into. So I didn't even know what this was really about until I put it in. I saw the people dressed in the older style clothing. I saw the older people, but I didn't really know what it was about at all whatsoever. So I put it in the player and I watched it. So this is about Shakespeare, and this is in the style of other movies where somebody famous has done something. They've done what they're famous for in their life, whether they became famous during their lifespan or not. And now they're kind of settling down. And this is kind of the story of the end. And, Picasso has had this done about him. Other people have had this done about them, especially musicians. And, so it's kind of a popular approach. I can't say I always need to know about this stuff. I don't need this to be the source material of every single movie, but it's what people tend to do. It's like, okay, they've done their stuff, so let's do kind of the last 3 to 5 years of their life. So that's what this is about, and it's kind of nice. Some of the dialogue about Shakespeare being such a genius and what his plays and poems have meant to people. We don't get that all the time. Sometimes with musicians, but not a lot with other artists in this world. And unless you're someone like Shakespeare, that was obvious that he was the best writer ever. Then you don't get that a lot. So it was nice to watch a movie where somebody was praised for their works and told what their work meant to certain people throughout the movie. So that was a nice part. The crappy part is what all famous people throughout history have to deal with, and that's when you're getting famous, you're not at home at all. So the fact that he's not home kind of sets up this movie. And there's two big surprises, two big releases of information that just shock you to all shock. And that's what makes it really good. And, it's not hard to believe, whether it's 1800s or the 2000s, that things happen within people's families when you're not home. And, that's kind of to be expected. So the fact that they kind of made this rational and made it, kind of like a this could happen to anybody, kind of a thing. Made it more relatable, and it was in this olden time and everything. And even though we have actors of today, it still felt like it was a really long time ago. They were in this big old house and they were speaking certain things, and women had no rights whatsoever in the world. So it was nice to kind of have a modern feel of drama and keeping secrets, and stuff like that. Like we have that all the time even today. So that was nice. The crazy part about it though was that they did keep stuff from him, and when you start to think about it, you're thinking about, wow, this guy was the best writer in history. Everybody even knew it during his time, and people still kept secrets from him. Like that's the part that kind of blows my mind. So whether it does you or not, this movie does kind of drag along. It is set in an older time. It has an olden time feel to it. People sitting around drinking ale, walking in the garden, just stuff like that. Can make it feel slower, can make it feel draggy, and not that there were any necessarily useless scenes. I just felt like there was a couple of times here and there where we were kind of hearing the same thing just from a different character, and some of the things that happened were a little bit foreseeable, a little bit obvious, but that's to be expected with an olden time movie. I mean, you kind of know what happened back then with culture and families and all that stuff. So I think generally this is just a really interesting movie. It's about a really interesting figure in history. We get to hear some of what he was popular for. Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet, and just keep naming them, naming them, naming them, and so I think it's nice to get this side of him and his family and what happens. It's kind of crazy at the end. Like they have a little scrolling thing on the screen that keeps telling you more and more. And I was kind of surprised by what that had to say. So it's all really interesting. If you don't want to see this movie, if you don't want to seek it out, it might not hurt you to take a half an hour to go look at William Shakespeare's Wikipedia page or something. Just to see what kind of his personal life was, who he was married to, how many kids did he have, and what kind of legacy did he leave, just kind of what his circumstances were, because that's what this movie is. If if that's all you're gonna get about this is just learning something about him, then you might as well just read from him. I think it's a pretty good movie. Obviously, Judi Dench and all these people are really good actors. I do think Kenneth pulls off a nice Shakespeare. He's very cordial all the time. Even when he gets upset, he is always smarter than you. So he replies in that manner. And so I just think it's a nice, complete movie. And it's something nice to watch and just kind of keep informed. And I mean, it's not some of the movies that we've had lately about rock bands and that were popular in the 80s and stuff like that, but it's still nice figure in history, and it's nice subject material, and it really throws two big surprises at you throughout the film. So it's a real movie. It's not just information time, and has these good actors in it. It's worth your time. I'm gonna give All Is True a B, and I do suggest trying to seek it out if you are able, and just try and give it a chance and try and enjoy it. A B for All Is True. Thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give some of them a watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. Enjoy your movies. Thanks.